Welcome to Middle Earth. Right now we are sitting here on the runway at NZMO. This is Te Anau. This is in New Zealand. This is the South Island of New Zealand, and we're sitting here in a DA62. This is definitely a neat aircraft. We have twin engines on this one. This is powered by an Austro AE330, so we're definitely going to be a little bit faster, but we have all those neat aerodynamic refinements that you found in the Diamond DA40, giving us a really, really high-performance aircraft, which works really, really solidly. Again, we've got those sophisticated controls. Look at the size of this thing. It's just massive. But we're getting a little caution warning. We got pitot heat off, but again, we can go through that a little later on. So let's go ahead and fire this thing up and give it a little bit of power. Most of these aircraft of this particular style have the ability to do FADEC, which is full authority digital engine control. Basically, that means if you do something stupid with your controls, the thing will still accelerate normally. That also means we don't have to worry about like mixture and stuff like that, which is absolutely wonderful. So the first thing I'm noticing is it doesn't have the quickest acceleration. I'm actually kind of surprised by that, but that's all right. There we go. Now we're rolling here. Now, the engines on this one each have 180 horsepower each, which gives us about 360 horsepower total, which is more than enough to get us going. Now, New Zealand is not a country I've ever visited before, which is kind of a bummer because I'm literally looking at Middle Earth from where we just took off from the ground here. As soon as we get airborne, I'm going to bring up the gear, go ahead and throw my flaps up as well. Generally with flaps, you want to be a little more cautious, you want to get a little more altitude, but I feel like I have more than enough excess power to get this thing going. All right, taking a look over at my controls over there on the right. It looks like I've got pretty good RPMs. My load is pretty high, though, so I'm going to bring my power down just a teeny tiny bit to keep everything in the green. All green on my screen is usually the expression I like to use. All right, looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and take a nice gentle right turn here. Now, the cool thing about this part of New Zealand, other than the fact it's just unbelievably beautiful, is the fact that this is where like Lord of the Rings was shot. And they've got some very, very unique delicacies down here, a very unique culture as well as accent compared to Australia. Some people get those two confused a little bit, and I kind of feel bad because it's just not the reality. So the first thing I'm noticing with this aircraft is it is very sensitive in rudder again, but it is not nearly as sensitive in roll, which kind of makes sense with an aircraft like this. Going to go ahead and bring my head down just a teeny tiny bit, and we're going to start cruising this direction. For this particular flight, I thought we'd actually take the time to go ahead and run through an actual flight here, just to kind of get a little bit of experience with it. This aircraft is really, really solid because it's quick, and it's also really, really solid because, again, it's a relatively stable instrument platform. Like, I don't feel this thing going all over the place. If I pull the pitch up just a little bit, yeah, it comes up, but it's not particularly, like, delayed or anything like that as you get in some aircraft. All right, we're now heading in the right direction. We're going to go swing ourselves to the left here. We're going to have to get ourselves a little bit of altitude here because we're going to find ourselves a little bit on the mountainous side in just a moment. So I'm going to be continuing climbing here. Take a look at my coolant temp. I like how they call it coolant temp instead of like water temp or engine temp or anything like that. Suggests that we're probably a water or probably glycol cooled engine, which is very, very solid as well. Now, this aircraft, very, very similar to the ones like it, has an extremely good range. This particular one, you can get about 1,300 nautical miles on a single full tank. That's impressive. Obviously, you're not going to be doing that with full passengers or anything like that, but it is still an impressive achievement nonetheless in an aircraft that's literally this small. So I'm, again, full power right now. The load's starting to creep back up again. I'm going to go ahead and reduce that just a tiny bit. All right, looking down below, do we have a pitch control lever? We do not have a pitch control lever, which means the RPM is going to be controlled by our throttle position. Very similar to a Cirrus as well. And you can see the weather today. It's a little hazy, but nothing too unusual. I got to admit, it's a little weird flying the aircraft with that synthetic vision. I'm kind of flying the aircraft through the synthetic vision as opposed to flying the aircraft by looking out the window a little bit here. But it shows you just how amazing of an instrument platform that this probably could be managed as. All right, reduce power. I'm starting to get myself in the VNO. That's a V never, not to exceed kind of a thing. Obviously, it's better than VNE, in which case you're going to cause some structural damage to the aircraft. Give myself just a teeny tiny bit more trim here. Again, I don't want to do anything too crazy, but I do want to see if the automatic pilot behaves correctly here. Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, that works pretty well. All right, give that thing just a teeny tiny tug there. We're going to do autopilot, flight director. We're going to do navigation hold mode. We're going to do altitude hold mode. All right, it's going to start flashing and honking at me, and it's going to start taking over. Again, I'm just kind of interested to see just how good of a platform this is going to be. See him getting bounced around in that early morning turbulence a little bit there. Nothing too bad. All right. Looks pretty good to me. That automatic pilot, I think, is actually fighting myself. I'm looking at the controller, and I can see it twitching a little bit. Yay, electric trim. It's the worst thing ever. Taking a look out here, looks like we got pretty good speed. The engine's cruising at really nice at this particular point. Again, I'm impressed. This is a really nice setup for this, and again, I can see that it's following it fairly effectively. Of course, I love the fact you can look out this synthetic vision and go, hey, there's mountains up there, and look out the window. It's like, oh, no, you're right. All right, let's put this aircraft through its paces real quick. Go ahead and reset my view, kind of to the default view real quickly. One fun thing to check on an aircraft with an automatic pilot is to pull the controls funny, then let go and see if the automatic pilot can fix it. So let's give it a second here and see what it does. All right, we almost oversped the aircraft. Whoa! Whoa! Oh boy! Oh boy! That wasn't so good there. Of course, let's go ahead to the automatic pilot disconnect here because this is gonna make me puke. So all you got to do is this, and that's it. We're all set. Cool. So that was an interesting experience. Next thing I want to try real quickly is I'm going to put this thing into a stall. You know, this is a fairly heavy-duty aircraft, so I'd be very curious to see what happens if you accidentally stall it. New Zealand, by the way, absolutely amazing recreation here. Just look at all those fields. That's just incredible stuff. This will be amazing if we ever get to see it in VFR, or VR, I should say. It's already in VFR, essentially. All right, slow down just a teeny tiny bit. Wow, this thing does not want to slow down. Very curious to think if it thinks that it needs to feather anything. Go get my mouse out of the way there. I'm going to pull the nose up a little bit. I really want to see what happens when it stalls. Drop the flaps all the way down. That should get me slowing down real quickly. All right, looking pretty good, There's the warning. Reminds me a lot of the inner marker, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to pull through the stall, and it just sort of stops flying. Hold the stall back. Yeah, you can basically fly yourself out of it. All right, let's try that with a departure stall this time. Hold myself nice and high here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I hear you. I got it. Wow, I'm just sort of hanging on to the winds here. I'm still climbing. I can't believe it. Oh, there it is. Cross control. Are we going to spin? No, this is not like its younger brother. Very cool. All right, hopefully you found this helpful. Again, I think it's just sort of neat to see each aircraft real briefly. We'll definitely have plenty of time to go into more detail later on. I just wanted to kind of check them out for myself on day one. Enjoy.